All right, historians, and let's put this thing to bed and talking about what a rebuttal is. The rebuttal is when you tell somebody why they're wrong using their own logic against them. So, as you can see, I just created a paragraph that goes off of the yes versus no prompt up here of Star Wars is the best, or is Star Wars the best science fiction franchise? And then I used this argumentative claim of one could argue that Star Wars is not the best science fiction franchise because of its lack of creativity. In reality, it is because of its success at the box office. So I'm going to work off of this counterclaim right here. So one could argue that Star Wars is not the best science fiction franchise because of its lack of creativity. So again, I just copied and pasted it right down here. But again, to get the counterclaim, you just copy and paste this first part, okay, the opposite side, if you will. So on my actual paragraph, it is right here. Notice it is the exact same verbiage. So I'm going to make that blue. So not that blue. I just did the thing I told you guys not to do. Don't change the font color. So here we go. So one could argue that Star Wars is not the best science fiction franchise because of its lack of creativity. So the second part, as I mentioned earlier, it is just the normal historical context. The five W's of who, what, where, when, and why about Star Wars, if you want to go that route. And that's what I did. So we're going to make that yellow. Okay, so it says Star Wars saga unfolded throughout multiple generations over 40 years. So what did it do? When did it do it? Within the 9 movies, so what or why, I guess you would say, of the saga, nothing new has developed to why the entertainment value of the original Star Wars or has not lived up to it. Okay, so that is my historical context. It might be missing a W here and there, but I just made it, so bear with me. But in terms of what it sets up is now I know about Star Wars and I understand now a little bit more about it. So the historical context, again, is important not just to breeze through. And I know I'm kind of eating my words here, but live with me. But now when you go into the textual evidence, you need to now prove your because. So I need to prove that some people think it lacks creativity. This can be hard. So therefore, what I'm going to recommend is that you find other people's opinion before you complete your because. Plus, also know this is not written in stone. You can change this if you need to. When you find a good piece of evidence or you're working through your research and you find another point of view, but it's on the same side, if that makes sense, then rock with it and roll with it. So here is the textual support that I found. Okay, and I'll read it to you after I highlight it. So this is from CNN, credible source, news outlet, whichever. And it says, according to Louis Beale, a writer on CNN, he states, the first Star Wars was a breath of fresh air, a fun flick for sci-fi geeks. But the series quickly ossified, a victim of its own success. The only 2 films, Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, show any originality. The rest tread water. Give the hardcore fans the same old, same old. I mean, how many lightsaber duels can you sit through before you're bored out of your skull? And how many outer space dogfights and how many seemingly profound Yoda-esque thoughts? So this is the textual support, and this proves its lack of creativity. Okay, so this now is gaining steam. So now the next part is the elaboration. You still need to elaborate on why this point of view is known or why this is a thing. So I'm just going to throw purple on that. Why not? Okay. So what I came up with is what this is saying is besides the first 2 movies of Star Wars, they have repeated the content over and over again, showing lack of creativity, proving the point of why it's not the best, according to this counterclaim. This would give the impression that Star Wars is not the best science fiction film of all time because it's simply making movies to make movies. So again, now I'm addressing the question. So those 2 things are important to still do in this elaboration, even though you do not agree with this. Okay. Now the next part is the rebuttal. Okay. So now the rebuttal has to use the logic of the paragraph. Okay. The logic of lack of creativity. That is the only thing I'm allowed to talk about. I cannot mention anything else. Okay, so my rebuttal is this point of view is inaccurate because everyone will see Star Wars for the first time. In that first time, the shock and awe factor will remain in the intergalactic chases, lightsaber fights, and pilot twists. Star Wars simply stuck with what worked when entertaining fans since 1977. As the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm saying it is inaccurate to think that lack of creativity does not make Star Wars the best science fiction film of all time. Okay, notice how I didn't go to another topic. I stuck with what the paragraph is. Okay, so this is the tricky part about rebuttal writing. Is it's really easy to say, Star Wars is not the best because Star Trek is, or kind of flipping the script, I guess you would say. But if you stick with the logic of the paragraph, you're going to be close. So hopefully this helps your writing. Obviously, if you need help beyond this point, reach out to me. I'll be more